Hi Connor, how you doing? So Connor, we're just going to look at your final unit that we need to do, and it's D21. Prepare for activity sessions as part of your NVQ level 2 in sport and active leisure. Can you just confirm for me, Connor, your full name and your date of birth, please, mate?
Connor James Lewis, 29th November 1998.
Brilliant. Yeah, all good? Are you happy?
Yep.
Yeah. Nice and relaxed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to try and, in fact, young man, you can hold that so it's not along Connor, that'd be great. Okay, Connor, so looking at D21, as you know, we left D21, D22, D23 towards the end because it was about the preparing, the delivering and the reviewing of your activity sessions, whether they be the bocce ones you've delivered or whether they be school sport week activity. Okay, so first one I'm going to look at where you made is know how to prepare activity sessions. So can you tell me why it's important, the importance of careful and thorough planning and preparation for your sessions?
Well, I think planning is like one of the most important things because it gives you an idea of what you want to do, when you want to do it, how long you want to do things for. It gives you a clear instructions of how to do things, like the aims, the objectives, and it really helps bring the session together for the participants. It really helps get everything out of them as possible, and you don't have to stall because you already know what you're doing.
Brilliant, lovely. So how do you then, Connor, how would you identify the needs and potential of the motivations even of the participants?
So I mean that it's all on the participants, and needs you could ask your tutors for more background information on them to make that sort of judgment, or if they have support with them that day you could ask their needs and things. But when it comes more to motivations and things, you need to really be watching and look what kind of person they are. So if you get maybe a very goal-oriented person, you could set goals in the session, and that will push them further. It's really you've got to look at the person that you're working with and then make decisions on how to deal with them as an individual.
Brilliant, lovely, I like that. Yeah. Okay, so just working where we work, can you describe the types of the special needs that some of our participants may have? So I don't mean in terms of the disabilities, but maybe extra needs that we may have to support or may need to be aware of within our sessions.
So there are a lot of mental and the need support. So things that might need supporting are they might need things explaining to them, more than once in a different tone, different voice, things like that. Whereas physical, they may need help with things like throwing, they may need say for bocce, they might need a bocce ramp. For different sports, they might need different kind of rackets, things that they can hold, that sort of thing.
What about when the session's going on? Maybe what some sort of needs that these guys may have that maybe you wouldn't see in a mainstream setting or things like that. You think of any type of incident you may get, or needs that may happen halfway through a session or part way into a session because these needs are that important that we can't sort of change times for them.
So medication is a big one.
Is a great one.
Some of them may have seizures, could have seizures in the middle of the session. That's always a big thing that needs, you need to be ready for. Also, a lot of students with mental disabilities can have behavioural issues, breakdowns in the middle of a session, things like that.
Well, I suppose there can be triggers, and again that would become to you identifying their needs or being told by support staff a bit about them, etc.
Yeah,
so you can manage that. Okay, thank you for that, Connor. What about, can you outline for me, so I'm just going to move on to learning outcome 2 now, how to plan activity sessions. Can you outline for us what a session plan should cover? What should we see on a session plan?
So you've got like the main bits, like the warm up, the stretches, the skill game, main game, cool down, things like that. You should also put on there things like the coach's name, where it's taking place, the time that it starts, the time that it finishes, how long it is, the equipment you're going to need, how many participants, just all stuff like
Excellent. What about right at the very end, what should we always have on a session plan? We should always do it after our session.
An evaluation.
Yeah, very good. Nice. So would we have on our session plan, would we have participants' details on there?
You don't put participants' details on there because it's confidential. You can't. It's all kept on a secure system that only certain people can look at, and putting it on a session plan would be.
Brilliant. So how would you, I mean, sort of you're based in the leisure centre, but how would you find out about the equipment and facilities that will be available for your session?
So obviously I can ask one of my tutor, my one-to-one, that they all know what equipment we have, what equipment we can use. I can have a look around and see, what there is to use and what's safe, and stuff like that. So.
Excellent. Circumstances can change.
Yes.
How do we plan for those?
I feel like as 4 hours you can plan, sometimes things go wrong that you just don't expect, and you've really got to be able to adapt quickly and change your session plan on the go, I think.
So if I give you a bit of a role play, so state the types of circumstances that may change in how to plan for these. So, for example, like you mentioned earlier, a seizure. So if a learner were to have a seizure in your bocce session, how would we manage that? How would the session change, do you think, from that?
Well, the session would have to stop for a start, and then obviously medical attention would have to be paid to the participant, which would be, by a trained member of staff, first aider. And until that area is safe again, obviously the class can't start again.
Okay. So we would be dealing with the sort of class for.
Well, there'd be in one of our sessions there are a lot of staff around, so it would either be myself while someone is dealing with the incident, or it would be other member of staff while I was helping deal with the incident, depending on the situation, if I was needed to help and things like that.
Okay, lovely. So you sort of managed for us, and you even ran some sessions on the school links lunchtime sessions every Friday. Before that all started, we was asked if we could provide something, and so I sent something back. But why is it important that we do get the approval of Bracken Hill, the colleagues responsible for the programme? Why is it important to get their approval, do you think, of what we're planning to deliver to them?
It's important to get their approval because they might not think that it's appropriate for their students to take part in. They might think it's too high level or it's too low level, or this student can't take part because of this disability.
Well, it was interesting, kind of, because obviously we always seem to do pretty much the same sport with them in terms of bocce.
Yeah.
And I think as a department we can offer so much more than bocce, but it was interesting that the staff from Bracken were saying, look, it is a lunchtime session, it is Friday lunchtime, they're here for the 4 days, just half an hour, sort of an enrichment sports session for them. And so they were keen that it was a slow-paced sort of activity like that, where they could develop softer skills, maybe a bit of numeracy with the scorekeeping and how many balls they may use, etc. So, it is quite important they're getting approval, because when they first asked, we were like, yeah, we can get some football, some basketball, but they weren't keen on that because they wanted learners nice and relaxed, ready to move on to the next session. So, well done. Okay, so the next one that I see you do on a regular